Tego.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ferret 64 with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferret 64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. Wow. We got a nice episode for y'all today. That's right. And we're going to jump right in this time. You know, I say it every week, but sometimes I don't mean it. But we're going to jump right in this time. But first, next week will be the July pickups. So if you want to check that out, that'll be next week at the beginning of the episode. I was thinking of doing it this week, but then I realized, oh yeah, there's 31 days in July. So we'll just do it next week because that's closer to the 1st, right? All right. Anyway, let's get started with what have I been playing this past week. Okay, I have been playing Wuchang Fallen Feathers. This is the game straight out of China. I don't like to... I mean, even though it makes for good content, I don't like to come onto the podcast and just be negative. Because there are things that I do like about Wuchang, but in whole, I'm not having a great experience with it. And I think I might be in the minority here, seeing as a lot of popular Souls-like YouTubers that I watch have taken a liking to the game, and I'm just like not feeling it. And I've given it a very fair chance right now. Usually with a game like this, especially in the Souls-like genre, I'll usually know if I want to invest my time into it by the second boss. Well, now I'm like 4 bosses in, and I'm just kind of like suffering as I play. It's not like a fun difficulty, it's kind of like a dumb difficulty situation. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, I think that the game is trying to mirror Dark Souls a bit too closely. The game is very slow. The movement is very slow. Getting up out of being knocked down is very slow. Healing is very slow. Using your abilities, like your little magic abilities, slow. And the enemy design in the game, especially the bosses that you fight, are very fast. They're very quick. Now, obviously, the game is built around this dodge move where you can essentially get hit by the move, but it goes through you, and that gives you a charge for your feather or magic abilities. I believe they're feather abilities, but I'll just keep calling them magic, which is a cool concept. Like, don't get me wrong, like I like that idea. I just wish that the character in general was a bit faster on her feet, because as it stands, like, she really takes a long time to get up. Like, usually in a Souls-like game or even an action game in general, if you press like the dodge button or the run button while you're getting up, it'll allow you to get up a little bit faster. It doesn't seem to be the case in this one. If you use like the swords, I believe there's also like a dual sword technique as well in there. There's like a whip too. Those make you move around a bit faster, at least when you're swinging the weapon, but the base movement of the character is a bit slow in my opinion, which, I mean, I don't mind in a game like Dark Souls because the game is centered around your character being a bit slower. That's why you got enemies like the Centipede Demon and whatever who are pretty slow, pretty meandering. And obviously you do have some faster enemies in there, but they definitely give you those openings for you to get a few hits in there and move around. And I've played Dark Souls a couple times now. It's one of those things where it's like nowadays when you play through Dark Souls or even Demon Souls, it's just a bit of a drag because it's just such a slow game, But Wuchang, I felt like maybe a modern interpretation could do the formula a bit better, a bit slower gameplay in a Souls-like game, which you don't really get too often anymore. A lot of people have gone towards the faster movement. Even indie games have gone towards faster movement. And I think I like that better with the genre. It fits a little bit better. And in this case, it feels like they wanted to have a Dark Souls 1 type experience, or even Dark Souls 2, and also have like the quick and flashy bosses from other games from Souls like past. And I mentioned this on the Discord. This is point number 2 of why I don't like it. This game really shows how oversaturated and blown up the Souls like genre is. It takes a lot of stuff from multiple games and just kind of goes, okay, that'll be good in here, right? Okay, well, this isn't every other Souls like game, so we got to put it in our game. And that has become such a detrimental thing for Souls like games at this point, that I really feel like it's going to take something really special to break this chain of just samey games over and over and over again. Wuchang does not break that chain. It kind of keeps going with it. And even though they've thrown a couple of interesting curveballs in there, like some of the weapon types are cool. There's a couple cool characters you meet, like this panda dude, Kung Fu Panda. Anyone? And you know, there's a couple of boss designs that I've gone against that have been interesting. But it's not gone past anything that I have played in the past. Specifically, the game that came out from Ninja Theory before this one, well, before their last game, which was Rise of the Ronin. Not Ninja Theory, I'm a Team Ninja. They did Wolong Fallen Dynasty, which I felt like was a pretty refreshing take on like a mashup between Neo and like a general From Software game. And I felt like that was a pretty good combination of the two. And now we got Wuchang Fallen Feathers, which is obviously trying to emulate what happened with Wolong, and also most recently with Black Myth Wukong. So many of these games are kind of named similarly, that's using the same mythology. So now we have like a third game coming out now that's based in Chinese mythology. It was refreshing when Wolong Fallen Dynasty came out. It was refined when Black Myth Wukong came out, and now we're in a state of, well, it's something. It's another take on the same kind of thing. Now, obviously, those two other games are a bit different from Wuchang, but in the end, they just seem so similar, but they just feel so different. And I think Wuchang Fallen Feathers is a bit of a step back from a lot of the things that have been happening in the Souls-like genre. Now, if you're looking for that more basic Souls-like experience that offers you the slower movement of back in the day, you know, because we can say that now, the Souls-like genre, it's exploded, it's everywhere, then yeah, I'm betting you're gonna like this game. You're probably gonna enjoy the combos and the various upgrading paths and stuff like that. And I was also enjoying it. Like, I was using the axe. I felt like the axe was pretty cool. Had some pretty cool moves in there. Then I was using the single sword, which seemed to be pretty good too. I used that against like the third boss I faced, which was like this monster that had like a horse's skull coming out of its mouth, and it was like spewing corruption everywhere. Like, yeah, I used the sword for that one. I felt like it was it gave me a bit of a leg up because that enemy moves so fast. But at the same time, I'm getting like roadblocked by various spikes in the game that are not to my liking. There's a couple of things with the just level design in general that has been irking me enough that it's been causing me grief. And as I said before, there's like difficult and there's also dumb difficult, and I feel like this game stretches that dumb difficult, like it goes over that dumb difficult line, just because of how they've set up like the corruption in the game is kind of like poison, where you lose health gradually. The other one is a green one that takes up your health bar, like X's out your health bar for some time. I forget what that one's called. It's green though. I know it's green. And what they did in this one area was you're going down like this spiraling mine shaft, and there'll be an enemy that has the green mist, right? The whatever you want to call it, that causes your health bar to half, and then it's also mixed in with corruption, like just corruption aura everywhere. And there's also enemies that spew corruption at you, so it's very easy to accidentally step in the wrong place or get hit by an enemy who's spewing corruption, and boom, you have corruption. Now you have both the things, and they work against each other, and you die. And these areas are long. There's not that many shortcut opportunities in most of them, especially in that first area. There's like this big castle area that you go through, all these hills and stuff that you're traveling through, and it seemed like there was not too many opportunities for either a shortcut or for the game to give you a shrine to stop at to save your progress. And there were several moments in the game where I was like, okay, I'm pretty far in this. I'm hoping that there's something soon, and there wasn't something until a little whiles away. So it has like the Dark Souls 1, hey, you gotta really fight your way there, or even I would more so say Dark Souls 2, I guess, where you have to really fight your way. If you die, you have to really fight your way back. And in this case, it's just a bit annoying because of all the crap that they throw at you. Now, in that spiral mineshaft that I was talking about, there are elevators that you can use to make the ascent a little bit quicker, or descent a little bit quicker, but but when I got to the boss room, I was kind of over it, so much so that I put the game down for the rest of the weekend. And the reason for that is this is like a weird monster enemy that has fire scythes for arms, and in the back, the dumpy sprays corruption. But what seems to happen is you get smacked by those blades, and you'll just get corrupted. You'll get the burn damage, and then you'll also just get corrupted randomly, depending on where the enemy has hit, or where they're standing, or how close you are to them when they start doing something. And it's not like a gradual buildup of corruption. Like if you touch the corruption mist in the area, you're just immediately corrupted. If an enemy starts spewing corruption, you're immediately corrupted. Same thing with the green mist. If you get hit by that, it's just an immediate thing. It's not a buildup. It's not gradual. It doesn't give you like a real. I mean, the meter just like shows up for a second, and then boom, you are corrupted, or you are whatever. And that just really annoys me, especially during this boss fight where you're constantly getting hit by this enemy, or obviously, you can just get good and not get hit. Sure, I could. I mean, at this time, like, I'm really trying to get my dodging down. It's almost like Wolong Fallen Dynasty in that way, where you really got to get those parries down and whatever in order to get the leg up on the enemies. But in this game, it just feels like it's so inconsistent. Sometimes I'm dodging and the blade will go through me and I'll get my little feather thing. And sometimes I'll maybe hit the button a parsec too soon and boom, I'm falling flat on my ass, and it takes me 5 years to get up, and then I get corrupted or whatever. And it's just a recipe for disaster. There are things in the arena that can help you, but in the end, I just feel like it's a bit overboard in a lot of ways. I mean, this is the 4th boss in the game, so yeah, obviously the difficulty should be ramping up. I mean, the first boss in the game is such a pushover. It's like this 2-headed maiden with a harp, and it's like she couldn't even do anything against me. I was knocking her down with the axe's heavy attack, and she couldn't even get up. So I beat her with I didn't even get hit once. I was like, wow, that was really easy. The second boss, on the other hand, the one that he's got like this pole axe or whatever it's called, and he has a fire attack, and he burns the land when he goes into a second phase. Like, that guy took me a few tries, sure, but he wasn't like super difficult. And then that third boss came around, which was a bit of a difficulty spike because it was so fast, and I had to really change up my my patterns. But it only took me a couple tries to do that one as well, and then boom, I get hit with this boss that I'm on right now, and it just feels like they just pushed too much into this game. They put too much into this boss, and it just becomes it becomes more annoying to fight than fun. And when that starts to happen, I start to fall off of games. Kazan was great in that it kept a good difficulty curve. It kept you learning. It kept you on your toes. It was fun to learn the boss fight. It was fun to learn the parrying. It was fun to learn when you had openings. It was fun to learn how to deal with various attacks from these bosses. Wuchang Fallen Feathers, it is not fun to learn anything about these bosses because they're just so poorly designed, and the game is so not poorly made, but it just feels bad to play, in my opinion. This is all my opinion, obviously. I mean, I would like to talk about some positive things, of course, but while I was playing it, I couldn't really focus on those things because I was just having such a up and down time with the game. Like, there would be moments where I'm like, oh yeah, this is working pretty well, and then other times where I'm like, well, that was pretty stupid. The third boss in general that I fought, had a hitbox like on you when it was crouching. It was just going from a standing position to crouching, a very gradual change. It had like an AoE hitbox on it. And I was like, this is the stupidest thing ever. And it took me like a try or two to realize, like, oh, it's just crouching. It's crouching. It's hitting me. Like, that is just poor game design, in my opinion. Like, there should not be a hitbox around an enemy crouching after being standing, especially if it's not a swift or powerful movement. It is such a gradual drop, and you get knocked on your ass, and so now you're lined up for the follow-up attack or whatever. It was just so dumb. So I guess like the positives for the game are like, yeah, the graphics are great. I mean, they went into great detail with the character designs and the enemy designs and the landscapes. Like, those all look good. The music is good. Like, I'm not complaining about the music. I think the music is good. I enjoy the OST to this one. They really went into detail with the character herself. They gave her the big bosom and big booty. You can even see it through like the chainmail armor, which is kind of ridiculous. They even like went so far to like animate like boob sweat on her as well. So it is a bit of like a gooner game too, where you can just look at your character, I guess, and just be so happy. And then one of the things that I actually do also like in the game is if you die too many times, your madness builds up, and usually you collect like your little souls from the ground, right? But instead, the souls will turn into a half naked version of yourself, essentially. Like, your titties are out, your ass is out. And it will attack you. So it can't do it when it's in a boss arena, but in the open world, no matter if there's enemies around or whatnot, your soul puddle will turn into the madness version of yourself, and you'll have to kill it in order to get your souls back, and then your madness will kind of reset, which I think is a good idea. I think that's a great idea. But yeah, I don't think. I don't know if I'm going to play too much more of this game. It's just one of those things that I'm just not enjoying my time with it. And why would I invest more time into a game that I'm not enjoying when other games that I do enjoy are out there that I'm trying to get through right now? Donkey Kong Bonanza, Death Stranding 2, etc. So I might give it another chance here, just to see if maybe changing up some more stuff, or maybe going through that boss fight a couple more times. We'll see what happens. But if I find myself just not enjoying it still, even after giving it another chance, it'll probably be dropped, and I probably won't get back to it. There's a stark difference here from Wuchang to the other like games, including Black Myth, Wuchang, and Wolong Fallen Dynasty, where those are like fast action games. I really felt like those games kind of did something with the genre that was a bit different. The banner system in Wolong, the combat system and magic system in Black Myth, the overall vibe of both games being pretty different from other things that we've had in the same genre. Obviously, Wolong was a little bit more like Neo than whatnot, but I just feel like Wuchang is just kind of copying what everyone else is doing, and they're just going, well, okay, I'm sure this will work just fine, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't. So yeah, take what I said with a grain of salt, because everyone is different. Obviously, everyone experiences video games differently, and like I said, it's not like I enjoy coming on here and bad mouthing a game. But I'm just not enjoying this one, and I'm just trying to lay out my thoughts so that you can make your own decision if you want to try it out or not. I will say, if you do like a more slowed down Souls-like experience, maybe check out Wukong. Not Wukong, Wuchang, because it is a slower experience, and it does take a laid back approach to its combat. But if you're not into that, I mean, there's 100 other Souls-like games that have fast combat, and they're rated pretty highly, like Elden Ring and Lies of P and whatnot. So, yeah, in my opinion, I would say focus on something else, but maybe try it out. It is on Game Pass, so maybe try it out. I've, of course, been playing more Donkey Kong Bonanza. Yes, thank you for asking. I spent a lot of time talking about the game last week, and I felt like I missed maybe some of the more usual beats for it, you know. Specifically, I think I totally missed on talking about like the characters in the game and stuff like that. Like I talked about Donkey Kong and Pauline, of course, but you know, I think that the Kong, like the new Kong enemies in the game, the Vector Kong group, is pretty cool. I enjoy these new characters. And they all have their own like little things going on. The one dude's like a builder. He's the one who like built all these various enemies and got them all working. And the girl in there, the girl ape, the girl chimp. She's like a tech whiz, social media person, and then the main Vector Kong. He's pretty wild and wacky, and they all kind of work together to do these things. I forgot to mention that like the enemies in the game are very cool because most of them have pieces of earth attached to them. So they also kind of remind me of the Kremlins too at times. Like there's a couple enemies that kind of remind me of Kremlins. But essentially they have like these big outer shells to them that are made of stone or steel or whatever, and you have to decide what you want to do or how you want to tackle the enemies. If they're made out of steel, well, you really can't punch through them with a regular attack. You got to either pick up a heavy stone, or you have to turn into your Kong Bananza to take them out. Or, you know, if it's like a, I don't even like, well, you know, you just have to. The main thing is that you just need to assess the situation and do your thing, right? Just beat the snot out of whatever you see in the right way, essentially. And there's a good amount of enemy variety in here. It seems like every layer has a new enemy type, or at least a new enemy variant. One of my favorite layers in the game so far has been the resort layer, which is full of like fruit and stuff. And there's also these enemies that when you punch them, they put like a rainbow bridge behind them when they twirl off into space. And you can actually walk across the bridge, one, and then also pick up pieces of that rainbow bridge, and you can use it to like fly around. You can hold it above your head and fly around. And I felt like that. I mean, that was like one of the coolest things, was messing around that entire resort layer. That's like one of the only layers where I specifically was like, I love this layer. I'm going to find everything in this layer. And I did a pretty good job at combing it. But obviously, there's things you're gonna miss no matter what, unless you are really like following a guide, or if you really are like going around every single little detail on the map. That's not how I like to play games. Obviously, I do like to explore, don't get me wrong, but I'm not someone who's going to look in every nook and cranny on my first time through. Like I'll do a good job of combing the desert, but I'm not gonna use a really fine comb and try and get everything, because I feel like it does kind of ruin the experience a little bit, like trying to find everything on your first time through. Like I do feel like it is a bit of like it more so makes it feel like a chore, at least for me. I mean, I know for like Mario Odyssey and stuff like that, like I would have loved to maybe get all the moons while going through it, but it already was starting to feel like a chore when I was just collecting the ones that I needed to collect. So at that point, I was like, well, we'll just go through the levels, and if we find them, we find them, right? And I'm feeling the same way here, where it's like, even though I think that it's in general like better in terms of like collectibles than Mario Odyssey, it is still like the same thing where it's like, okay, I don't feel the need to like comb the entire area like with a fine tooth, you know, with a fine pick, right? I can find things by just being near them and clapping and then go towards them. And a lot of times it leads me to more bananas. Like I'll get to a banana, or I'll find a fossil, which you use to buy new outfits and stuff like that. And once I go to that fossil, once I go to the banana, I'll clap my hands again, and like, oh, here's like 5 more things around me. I better go do those things, and I'll clap my hands the whole way just to make sure I'm finding everything. And by the end of it, I feel like I do have about 80 to 90% of the level explored, but I'm not looking to go to the fine details quite yet. When I go back through the levels after I finish the game, then I'll maybe get more of a, you know, eyepiece out, or I'll try and find some maps or whatever to find the bananas I missed or the fossils I missed. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like the fossils in the game. They're very much easy to find for the most part. Some of them are a bit more difficult, obviously, but most of them are easy to find as long as you have your clap ability leveled up all the way and you're making sure you clap as you go. you can usually find a whole bunch of them and get what you want from the store. There's a lot of the things to get. There's a lot of fossils on each layer, so it's not like, you just get one fossil and you're good to go. Like, you need to get like 15 to get at least the decent version of the pants or a different color fur. And I just love mixing and matching. I'm pretty constantly mixing and matching up my outfit for Donkey Kong and Pauline. And right now I have like a yellow and grayish fur on with some yellow trousers and the DK tie that gives you extra Bananza when you collect gold. And I believe usually Pauline, I just have whatever layer's theme is. I have her wear that. So on the one level that was like the ostriches, it was like a bellhop uniform. So I had her in that the whole time. In the next layer after that, it was like a rainy area. So you got like a poncho. So it was, I'm always trying to mix things up. Obviously, there's going to be some things that I gravitate towards that are level specific. Like the first area has like these trousers that make you swim faster, and there's a lot of water in that area. There's water later on too, so I did put it back on for the resort layer. Actually, funny enough. But I am pretty constantly like changing things up to my playstyle and how I'm playing. At this point, I got to a point where I was like, okay, so this is all the Bananzas that they showed off, right? There's more. There is more, and they all have their own little quirks. I don't know how in detail I want to get about it. I think I'm gonna hold off really talking too much more about the game until I'm at least done with it. That way I know if you are playing the game, you'll have enough time to either catch up to me or, you'll get done yourself. So I do want to hold off really talking about the more secret things that they held back from us during that direct. But as it stands, I mean, Donkey Kong Bonanza is fantastic so far. I'm really enjoying my time with it. I took a little bit of a break, at least this weekend, from playing it to play more Death Stranding 2. But I'll probably get back to Donkey Kong Bonanza pretty quickly because it is a very fun game. So there you go. I've also been playing a game called Wheel World. This is the new biking game where you get like the soul of some sort of soul skull kind of guy, and he has like this legendary bike that you need to put back together by beating the 4 big bikers in the on the island that you're inhabiting. And it's a pretty cool like little game. Like I don't think it's gonna wow anyone or knock your socks off. But it is a fun game that has some cool moments to it. Obviously, biking is not a huge thing in the video game landscape. Like, obviously, you do have bikes in various games like Pokemon or Grand Theft Auto or the Tour de France 2006, right? But for the most part, it's not like the main focus of the game. Obviously, there were a lot of BMX games back in the day, like BMX XXX, or even Matt Hoffman. Like there were Matt Hoffman games back in the day. But recently, we haven't had a lot of like biking themed games that I can remember personally. So this game, this Wheel World game, kind of came out. I mean, I don't think it came out of nowhere, but it was one of those games where I saw the trailer for it and I was like, I'm not really going to follow this one too closely. Then it came on to Game Pass, and I wasn't having a good time with Wuchang, so I decided, I'm gonna play this Wheel World game. Maybe it'll be kind of fun. Maybe a bit of a hidden indie gem from this year. And I have to say, like it is a pretty fun time. I'm enjoying myself while playing it. It's a laid back biking experience. You race, obviously, so it's not entirely laid back, but a lot of times I feel myself kind of having a sense of ease while going around these locations and biking around these maps, these little racetracks. So essentially, what you do is you start off with like this rusty bike, and the skull guy is like, "Hey, we need to get my parts back." And you need to get past this first island. The first island is all about learning how the bike handles without any upgrades or anything like that. And then you got to like beat the biker gang on in a race. Once you get enough reputation by doing various other things like racing other bikers essentially and doing smaller bike routes. And then you do the big race and you move on. And one of the core things about the game is customizing this bike and making it into your type of speed demon. So there's multiple things that you can do with this bike, including, but not limited to, turn the body of it into a hot dog with a fork for the spokes. You can also add various different chains to it, so you can have multiple chains. So while you're riding your bike, it'll prompt you to switch gears, and you'll switch to a faster gear so that you go faster on the map. There's also various different wheels you can use for different terrain, like rough terrain and pavement, and off-roading, etc., etc. There's different handle, like the whole bike is customizable, and you earn like these little, I think they were called badges. You earn them by doing some challenges, like do this many races or do this specific thing during the race, and it'll earn you a badge, and you'll be able to spend those badges on parts at vendors, or you can find them hidden around the map. They're just kind of like hidden around in boxes, and you find the boxes and it gives you something. The cool thing about the game in terms of like the racing aspect is there's a couple of different challenges to do during the race. So of course they want you to get first or top 3. Then they also want you to collect KAT, which is the name of the character Cat, the name of the character. So you kind of like in Donkey Kong, you collect Kong or whatever. Tony Hawk, you collect Skate. Well, in this game, you collect Cat, and it's hidden. The letters aren't really hidden, but they're hidden during your racetrack course, which is a little fun little thing, a little distraction while you're racing. And then there's also another one for beating a certain time around the track as well. So you can get like a five badges right there off the bat, and then you also do challenges which give you a number of badges as well. All that it culminates in racing the big wig of the island. You race them, you get the special parts for your bicycle, and then you move on to the next island. And right now I'm on the 3rd island right now, and things have gotten a bit more challenging as they should as you're going through the game. I'm finding myself having to really customize my bike even more so, and try and collect as many badges as I can to buy the better parts, and not use like the things that you find that are worse. I was really liking the hot dog vibe for my bicycle. I spent like 30 to 40 badges getting the hot dog body, and it's not good. And I was trying to do some more challenging races with it, and I was like, I'm just going too slow. So yeah, of course, I had to change out the hot dog. I was like, oh no, I really like this hot dog body. Like, it's so funny. But I couldn't keep it on my bike because I actually need to make progress in the game. Kind of like your regular kart racers, there's lap-based courses, and there's also from point A to point B courses. It just depends on what one you get at the time. There's a good variety of different locations to go to. Lots of variety in the track layouts as well. I believe this is coming from an indie developer too, so if you want to support them, that'd be great. It's also on Game Pass, but I believe it's on Steam for like $20 or something like that. It's a pretty good time. So if you want to check out Wheel World, I would recommend that. I'll probably be done with it next week, if I find time to play it between the other games that I'm playing right now. But this does feel like one it's a nice little shorter experience, and I feel like I'll be able to get through it lickety-split. I also was playing Pokemon Friends, which is the new app from Pokemon. I've played about 3 days worth of puzzles, and they are made for children. Like, absolutely made for children. Now, there are DLC puzzles that you can choose to maybe give you more of a challenge, but I'm not going to be spending $15 to $50 on those things. I just feel like it's not worth it. Plus, the game only plays in landscape mode, which is especially annoying for me, who I do everything vertically. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, it's such a great game. It's so fun." Because it's really not. Like, it's just kind of like a basic phone game. It kind of feels like your mini game compilations, like Dumb Ways to Die or something like that, where you do a lot of the same thing over and over, and it's not really that in depth, right? You'll be pressing on the screen to have your character go to that point, and they do tend to feel pretty samey after a while too. And I've only done 3 days worth of puzzles, and I'm already feeling like there's nothing going on in this game. So one of them was like drag the power line to the light bulbs from the Pikachu, like pretty easy. One of them was slide your character by using motion controls through this obstacle course, super easy. Switch the tracks for Sableye to get across them. Pretty easy. uh, there was one where you played as like the little squirrel character, and all you did was tap on the garbage, and it would pick it up, and it was like the easy. It was just such brain dead nonsense. Um, so it definitely is designed for a younger audience. Every day you can like create a new Pokemon plushie. Um, so right now I have like Pikachu, Fuecoco, and Quaxley, I think. So you get these like different threads from doing the puzzles, and you can combine them to make these plushies. And there's like drop rates for the plushies too, so it's like it's monetized, and it's got a little bit of gambling in there. Like at least with Pokemon trading card game, like you do something with those cards you get. Like if you get like the super rare card, the 0.99% drop, well, it's going to be pretty useful for you. But in Pokemon Friends, you get like the stupid plushie, and you just put it in your virtual room. You do nothing else with it. There's nothing else to do in the game. You can't even play with friends. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a dumb little game for dumb little kids, and I am very smart and not dumb and not a kid. So I probably not going to play for too much more, but at least I tried it, and at least it's pretty. I mean, it works pretty well. It's got some fun little graphics in there. But it's just not complicated enough, and I feel like I just don't see how the game could get more difficult unless they added like math and chemistry into the game. Like I don't know how they're gonna make this any more challenging than what it is, but maybe I'll see. Maybe a week from now I'll come back and be like, oh my god, this is like the Souls like of point and click phone games. Holy shit. Well, folks, we did it. We finished Sonic the Hedgehog, aka Sonic '06. And I don't know if I'm just like a Sonic lover, but I felt like the game was good. Like I had a fun time with the game. I thought it was a great experience. I thought that the game had a fun story to it. It had some fun twists and turns here and there. I think it was maybe drawn out a bit too long at the end, but for the most part, I felt like the game played pretty nicely, and was a good time. Like I don't know what's going on with the general gaming audience, but these Sonic games that everyone says are so bad, some of the worst games of all time, I've been playing them, and I just don't see it. Like, are there Sonic games I don't like? Of course. I'm a human being. I'm not ruled by Sonic the Hedgehog, even if I am wearing the hat. I'm playing these games, and I know what people have said about them, and for a lot of them, I just don't understand where it's coming from, especially with Sonic '06. Now, are there technical issues with this game? Yes, of course. There are technical issues with this game abound. If you play the game in 1080p on PS3, there's way more slowdown than when you're playing 720, which is kind of weird in my opinion, but I'm not going to give it a pass, it is what it is. There's lots of slowdown in the game. Not so much frame rate drops, but slowdown. A lot of slowdown. Also, one of the levels out of like 10 or whatever was just poorly optimized, poorly done, poorly made, and it was that stinking beach level. It's the one with the orca that comes out, and you have to like use tails halfway through. It's the first level of the game. It's actually the first level of the game, because you do some stuff in the open world, you get some abilities, and then boom, you're into this beach level, and it just was not done properly. The rest of the game, all those levels feel great. Well, they feel good, not great, but a lot of them feel good, and they go into feeling great. My favorite section from most of the games was the future sections, where you're in like the burnt down version of the city, and there's lava everywhere, and the enemies are lava enemies. Those levels felt good. The levels in the temple ruins felt pretty good. The levels that were inside of the Dr. Robotnik's lair, pretty good. The level that was in the snowy landscape, pretty good. Like there's all these really good levels in there. Of course, there's some stinkers. Like there's like these ruins that you go around in as Knuckles and as Silver, which not my favorite parts of the game for sure. And I felt like Tails was probably the like worst character to use in general. But that being said, like, I think they do a good job of repurposing the levels for each character's story. Obviously, I feel like they probably could have gone away with a couple of them because they were not really needed for the character storylines, but they just decided like, oh well, we got to put them all the levels in here into each campaign, so that's what we're gonna do. So that was kind of weird. But in general, I felt like the game was fun. I thought the boss fights were pretty well done. I thought the story was pretty good. And I would gladly play this game again down the road if I really wanted to. I liked each of the characters' campaigns. There's a Sonic campaign, a Silver campaign, and a Shadow campaign. I feel like the Silver campaign was probably my favorite, even though it had the most annoying version of the Ruins map. Shadows was like my second favorite, oddly enough. He just felt very powerful. His story felt more epic. And Sonic's probably my least favorite simply because he had the least amount of offensive capabilities out of all of them, which it's hard to it's hard to judge like Sonic, who can do homing attacks and run fast, right, against Silver, who can levitate objects and throw them at people, or Shadow, who can shoot out chaos spears and combo enemies, and actually like as Shadow you can actually hit like enemy projectiles and destroy them. And same thing with Silver, you can like catch the enemy projectiles in midair and throw them back. So like out of all the characters, Sonic just kind of doesn't have enough chutzpah to him to really make him worth playing again, in my opinion, or play him over the other characters. And yeah, I felt like the game has a bit of a bad reputation around it. Obviously, I mean, we all know it. I mean, people have done videos on them claiming it's the worst game in the world. Video Game Donkey's video on Sonic 06 blew up because obviously, it's Video Game Donkey. But when I played it, I was going into it expecting like, oh, this is probably going to be like a D or an F tier type game. But once I got past that first level, the rest of the game was good. And I had fun. And I thought that the final chapter had a nice wrap up to it. Even though it was a bit lengthy, I felt like it had a nice wrap up to it. A little bit of frustration here or there, but nothing too crazy. So, in the end, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 and a B tier. I thought that that was a fun experience. And like I said, I would honestly play it again. Like, this is one of those games where I went into it not knowing that I was gonna have as much fun as I did with it, and I was more better for it, a better person on the other end. Also, we played and finished Sonic Labyrinth, which is another one that is a very low-rated Sonic game. This is on the Game Gear and Mega Drive. It's essentially like a predecessor to Sonic 3D Blast in a lot of ways, or it's either a dumbed-down version of it for the mobile versions. But this is another one that like people have like 1 out of 5s or 1.5 out of 5 on GG, and it's like I played it and I'm like, this is an above average Sonic game. Like, it's actually good. Like, the soundtrack's good, the game plays fine. I had no issues with like the level design. There's like 2 levels that had like some weird things going on that I had to look up because it was just like a bit obscure. One of them was like a random platform came out of nowhere that if you ran too fast past or spun too fast past it, you wouldn't even know it was there. And then the other thing was this like maze-like level that was like the last level in the game where it just felt impossible to really make any true progress at some points. So I had to look up, where one of the keys was, and it was actually like super easy. So I would have found it eventually, hopefully. But besides from that, like, I felt like the level design was fine. The boss fights were fine. Like, it was an average game, and I felt like I thought it was a bit of an above average game. Like, I had fun with it. I don't know why some of these like games are rated so poorly. Maybe it's just because these people are playing them on the original hardware, where I'm playing Sonic Labyrinth on like the Sonic Origins Plus version, which gives you save states and a joystick. Sonic 06, I played the PS3 version, so it's not really like that special of a version of the game. It's not like I'm playing the modded versions or the recompiled versions of these games. I'm playing them all on original hardware as best as I can, except for the Game Gear games, because those are all included on the Plus version of Sonic Origins. So it's just one of those things where it's like I mean I had a good experience with it. I'm gonna be honest with my opinions, and yeah, I had a good experience with Sonic Labyrinth. I thought it was above average. I gave it a B tier. Maybe someone out there is screaming at their computer or their phone, being like, how the fuck can this dumbass say that Sonic Labyrinth is a B tier game? I don't know. I just had a decent time with it. I thought it was fun. And hate me later, I guess. I don't know. We were going to play Sonic Heroes, but my PS2 disc wasn't working, so we have decided to move on to Sonic Frontiers, which is probably going to end off the whole Sonic Summer streaming sessions, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Sonic Frontiers is up next on Monday, so I'll see you then. Let's go ahead and move on to what's in the news. All right, he is back. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has put out a statement talking about the company after these mass layoffs and saying that the company is in a good spot. He's quoted as saying, before anything else, I want to speak to what's been weighing heavily on me and what I know many of you are thinking about, the recent job eliminations. These decisions are among the most difficult to have to make. They affect people we've worked alongside, learned from, and shared countless moments with, our colleagues, teammates, and friends. I want to express my sincere gratitude to those who we have left, which is a crazy statement. Pause the fucking quote here. I want to express my sincere gratitude to those who have left. Yeah, I mean, the 5,000 jobs you've eliminated in the past 3 years, yes. Their contributions, returning to the quote, their contributions have shaped who we are as a company, helping build the foundation of what we stand on today, and I'm deeply grateful for that. He continued to say that their mission is to deliver, they want to deliver on their mission. We need to stay focused on the 3 business priorities. Now, sit down because you're probably going to, well, actually stand up because you'll probably jump out of your seat here. Security, that's fine. Quality, that's good. And AI transformation. We are doubling down on the fundamentals while continuing to define new frontiers in AI. So it sounds like they're just going full frontal assault into the AI side of things, which means we will probably see another round of job layoffs in the future to replace more people with AI algorithms. And eventually we will get our first completely AI-made Xbox game featuring Marcus Phoenix and Master Chief. It's just, like, I've said it a ton of times, like, I don't mind AI as a tool, but it's when it's taking over people's jobs and whatnot, like, and it's making things for you, it just annoys me that all to each end. Like, I get it. He wants to make a statement that helps ease the pain of the losses and the layoffs from Xbox, right? And a lot of people have a lot of questions like, "Hey, why do we need to lay off these many people? Blah 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 blah. Is it just redundant jobs? Is it jobs that you don't need anymore? Are the games done? You canceled a couple of games, so obviously you're going to lay off people there." But then they double down on the AI stuff, and I just feel like we're not done yet. We're not out of the woods yet. And I mean, back when they first did their, like, I forget how many jobs it was. Wasn't it like 11,000 something jobs that they eliminated when they first bought like Activision and Blizzard? Like, they had a bunch of studios that they cut and a lot of people who were just gone out of a job. It might have been in total 12,000 across the board. So I might be misremembering, but I remember it being a pretty big, substantial amount of employees. And I thought like that was going to be the worst that we got, but then Xbox comes out this past month, and they're like, yeah, we're just going to do like 9,000 in a day. Like, we're just going to eliminate all these people. We're going to replace 200 people with AI algorithms at King. And it's like, say what you want about King. Like, I don't think those people deserve to have their jobs replaced by AI. Does it save costs? Yeah, of course it saves costs, but I don't know. It's just very it's just weird. And then like having the CEO come out and say these things, like I know like he wasn't at these studios every day. He wasn't calling them friends or whatever. He was calling them acquaintances at best. He was calling them employees, underlings at best. So like to have this like, oh, we're all colleagues here. We're all teammates. We're all friends. But not you. But these people who are my friends, I'm okay with axing them. Yeah, not the best statement in my opinion. There were other things he said, but that was the main points there that I wanted to talk about. At the same time, Microsoft has actually reversed their decision to make the Outer Worlds 2 $80. There was a lot of pushback on that. Obviously, I myself was very concerned for the future of Xbox if they were going to try and sell $80 games because they're already not pushing that much in sales, and to make something in $80 just feels like a death sentence, really. I mean, the game's not going to sell well. If you have it on Xbox Game Pass, it might boost your numbers on Game Pass, but you're not going to be making more money from the release on Game Pass if it's all just like the people who've already been paying for Game Pass. So yeah, they decided to drop the Outer Worlds price to $69.99 instead of $79.99. In a statement, they said, "We're focused on bringing players the incredible worlds to explore, and we will keep our full-priced holiday release, including the Outer Wilds, at $69.99, in line with current market conditions." Oh, current market conditions? Oh my God! It's like I said this before. It's like I was the person who said that the market had not gone to $80 yet, even though Mario Kart World was $80. Technically $50 in the bundle. Not defending Nintendo, but it's like I've said this several times. The market is $60 and $70. That's your AAA price tags. And Nintendo and other companies like PlayStation have also released big AAA releases for $40, like Helldivers 2 and Metroid Prime Remastered and stuff like that. There's $40 mixed in there. So the prices have changed. They've swayed back and forth. It's not like every release is $70. No, a lot of releases are $60. A lot of first-party PlayStation games are $70 now, but it's still a floating little fluctuating thing. Like they've released a couple games that are $40. So the market is not $80 right now, no matter how much they want to make the market $80. You could say the same thing about when Borderlands 4 was thinking of making their price tag $80. The market is just not there yet, and will it get there? Probably, but it will probably not be as quick, like this quick. Like games just became $70 regularly like 3 years ago. It was like the start of the PS5 generation was when games started to become $70, and it really hasn't gotten fully $70 even yet. And you look at the indie market, there's a lot of those AA developers are releasing games for $40 to $50 now. The smaller indie game market, though, those prices fluctuate so much. There's not really a set price tag for an indie game. It could be $15, it could be $5, it could be $20. And the same thing can be said about the AAA market. It's not a balanced market. There's not a lot of similarities with the pricing between one title to the next title. You can definitely see that with Nintendo, who released Mario Kart World for $80, but Donkey Kong for $70. It's like, why is there a difference there? They're releasing Pokemon ZA for $70. They're releasing Drag X Drive for $20. They released Nintendo Welcome Tour for $10. Like, there's so much variety in these price tags, and I really feel like it should be a per game basis, like depending on how much time and effort and whatever you put into the game. But at this point, I don't feel like a lot of companies are going to make that much more money if they put their games at $80, because one, the market's not there. As we're stating right here from Microsoft themselves, the market is not there. It's not at $80 yet. $70? Sure, you can make an argument that the market is at $70 for games right now. $80? No. I wag my finger at you. I say, no. The market is not at $80, no matter how much you want it to be at $80. Okay? You can look at Skull and Bones and say, look, that game is $70. It barely has anything going on with it. We can make our game $80 because we have so much going on in our game. But look at the sales numbers. Skull and Bones sold so poorly. And the same thing would have happened to the Outer Worlds 2 if they did keep it at $80. I think there's a lot of PlayStation fans and PC fans who don't want to use Xbox Game Pass or Xbox Launcher to play this game who are breathing a sigh of relief. Maybe it's not a full relief sigh because it's still $70. It's still a pretty big chunk of change, but it's not $80 though. It's not $80 yet. This could mean that the next Black Ops game will be $70 as well. And like I said, I don't feel like they're going to make more money by selling the game for $80. Like, I feel like if you sell the game for $80, you're cutting a lot of the people who would like to buy the game in half, I feel like. Because it's just a big price tag, right? $80. That's almost a full. That's almost a controller nowadays, right? That it's like it's almost. I mean, it's practically $100 at that point, right? But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the market's not there. I've been saying that the market's not there over and over and over again, not only on this podcast, but on Mass Tech Gaming's podcast, the Indie Hangout podcast. I've been saying this over and over and over again. The market is not $80. It's barely 70. It's barely 70. And when you look at these $70 priced games that release, but you obviously need to forget about Sony, but most of the $70 games that release from like Ubisoft and EA and blah blah blah, they're not that great selling unless it's like a sports game like Madden or whatever, or 2K, even 2K, NBA 2K. So like there's a niche area that does sell well, but there's also a lot of areas that don't sell too well. And there's a couple of examples last year, like Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, Skull and Bones, etc., etc., etc. Like I said, though, there are a fair amount of $70 games now that are coming out, like Ghost of Yotai and whatnot. But I feel like the climate, the general vibe of the what they're planning on selling these games for is just barely at $70 now. We're just getting that into that range of like most AAA games are now $70, but there's still fluctuation. There's always fluctuation. So saying a couple weeks ago that from it was what's his face, Borderlands 4 guy, Randy Pitchford, who was like, the market's at $80 right now, guys. I can't do anything about that. To now all these companies backtracking and be like, well, it's not at $80. It's we were wrong. Well, they're not going to admit that they were wrong, but when they say things like we're going to keep this in line with current market conditions, I tend to pat myself on the back and be like, called it. The market is not $80. It's 70 at best. When it's at its best, I should say. So, there you go. Bitch. Battlefield 6 has officially been confirmed. They released a bit of a reveal trailer not too long ago as well. And I think it's finally time to let yourself get a bit hyped for this game. It seems that, I mean, obviously they've gone back to like a modern kind of interpretation for Battlefield. It's been a while since we've had that. We've had future, we've had past, we've had very past, and then we've had like modern warfare type thing. So they're back in the modern era, maybe like a little bit in the future, of course. And it'll be interesting to see exactly what they do with this. Now, obviously, the storyline for the game seems to be kind of like a Modern Warfare type experience where, it's a global conflict and there's like maniacs out there or terrorist organizations, whatever they're going to do. And you're fighting in like downtown LA or whatever. And you're using like these indestructible environments to your benefit to get through all the enemies. So they did confirm that there is going to be a campaign in here, a multiplayer mode. I believe it's going to be like a battle royale mode. I mean, it feels like at this time, why not, and I believe they said that they were bringing the Portal back as well, Battlefield Portals, which is pretty good. So yeah, Battlefield 6 full reveal trailer released on the 24th. If you want to check that out, I mean, it wasn't really that big of a reveal trailer. Like, it just kind of showed some static and some in-game stuff going on. I mean, from what we can see, the game looks good. Now, obviously, Battlefield 2042, which was the last one that came out, started off a bit rocky. Obviously, it took them quite a while to get the game to a place where I was willing to play through until I maxed out my character, and I generally had fun with the game. I think it was like last year that I was playing it and I was having a good time with it. So like I was actually having a pretty good time with it. I felt like the Battlefield moments were there and it felt like a Battlefield game. And I'm hoping that this game starts off on the right foot. I really, really do hope that this game steps off on the right foot, because at this point, Call of Duty is just kind of like, it's Call of Duty, and it's becoming more like Fortnite every time they release another character skin pack, right? The latest one being American Dad. And I just feel like there's really not a first-person shooter out there that is grounded in some sort of reality. Like, obviously, there's things you can do in Battlefield that are not realistic at all, of course. It's a video game at the end of the day. But just having, like, no weird, crazy outfits, not having, like, a bunch of microtransactions weighing it down, just something that is straightforward, just Modern Warfare type experience that's not trying to cash in every step of the way. Now, obviously, they still could do microtransactions in this game. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like Battlefield is going to be the least likely to put a Beavis and Butthead skin into their game or have a lava lamp skin in their game. I feel like it's probably going to be more of like a serious type shooter, and that's kind of what I'm looking for right now because as it stands, like I still like playing Black Ops 6. It's not like I hate the game, but it is becoming more and more of just a cartoon fest. It's just the things that they're adding into the game. Say that they were going to add these things 5 years ago, even, and I would have been like, yeah, right. But here we are. So, yeah, I mean, Battlefield 6 looks good. Now, obviously, there has been some leaks for the game. I'm not going to talk about them here because I hate talking about leaks and stuff like that. But if you want to check those things out, you can. I believe the release date and some minor gameplay mechanics have been leaked, but I'm not going to talk about them here. I don't talk about leaks. You know that. Dying Light the Beast has been delayed into September. A lot of people are a bit concerned about the new release date because September is a pretty packed month for gaming, as this whole year has kind of been. Late August felt better than mid-September, I will say. But yeah, so the game has been delayed from August to September 19th, 2025. Obviously, they want to polish up the experience and make the best Dying Light game that they ever have released, so they're going to be tweaking some things, including fine-tuning the balance of gameplay elements, looking into the clarity of the UI, increasing the quality of physics, as well as tweaking cutscenes and player animations further. So it sounds like they're doing some things that maybe play testers have noticed and been vocal about, so they're spending more time in the game and making it into more of what we want or what we expect, right? I am very excited about Dying Light the Beast. I feel like if they fix everything that was wrong with Dying Light 2, it'll be a very fun time. I had a lot of issues with Dying Light 2, so it's going to be tough, but I think I'm kind of sold on this one. The gameplay that they've revealed, the things they've talked about, has been good and in from what I've seen. So I am interested in this one. Hype meter is like not high, but it's it's up there. But yeah, I mean, this is launching in the same month as Silent Hill F, Ghost of Yotai, and Borderlands 4. So it's a busy month, and I think that it might be buried underneath these other games. Now, if they do another delay on this game into next year, I wouldn't be surprised. But I also probably would think it would be a bad decision. Maybe it would look bad on the company to just delay it because it's being released to a group of games here. At this point, though, we'll just see what happens. But yeah, it's now coming September 19th, if you want to check that out. Same thing for Terminator 2D No Fate. This is the really good-looking pixel art, old-school style shoot-'em-up, side-scrolling shoot-'em-up in the Terminator universe. They have decided to delay the release of the game from September 5th to October 31st. So it's going to release on Halloween. And the reason for that is to, one, extra time to polish the title, but also they're delaying it because the physical version was taking longer to process than anticipated. So in a statement, they said, coordinating and manufacturing the physical release has been a longer process than anticipated, and as a result, we've had to delay the release of the game. We apologize and thank you for bearing with us. This delay will also give us time at Bitmap Bureau extra time to apply some final polish to the game itself, and we would like all players to have the opportunity to experience the best version of Terminator 2D No Fate together. As such, this delay will apply to both physical and digital versions of the game. So, yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with the delay, especially if they're going to be polishing it up. People might be a little bit annoyed that the digital version is being delayed simply because the physical version is, but I don't mind that. I actually kind of appreciate that because there's a lot of times where a physical version of the game will come out, like, I don't know, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound coming out later this month, and the physical version won't come out until a couple months later. And it's like, well, do I wait for the physical version or do I just play the game now on digital? And a lot of times I'll just play it now and get the physical version down the road when it's on sale or whatever. Same thing happened with that Date Everything game. That's one that I decided to keep with the physical version for whatever reason. But anyway, Splitgate 2. This is a very strange story. So this game came out, early June 6th. and they had that presentation at the Game Awards or Summer Games Fest. I'm sorry, Summer Games Fest, and people are kind of like kind of shifty on the lead guy there. They're planning on putting it back into a beta mode. So the free-to-play game is going to not be shut down, but it will be going back into beta where they'll work on it and then relaunch the game. So they said in a Twitter post to the Splitgate community, "We believe in Splitgate 2. This game means everything to us. It's been our life for almost 10 years. Starting in our dorm room, and we're more committed than ever to delivering an incredible experience you deserve. We've heard your feedback and agree with you. We launched too early. We had ambitious goals for Splitgate 2, and in our excitement to share it with you, we bit off more than we could chew. We rushed certain features, made some boneheaded mistakes, and more importantly, we didn't give you the polish, portal-filled mayhem you fell in love with. So we're going back to beta. We'll be heads down until early next year, rebuilding our major parts of the game and to capture the spirit of what made Splitgate special. That means reworking progression from the ground up, adding more portals to our maps, simplifying monetization, refocusing on classic game modes you've been asking for, and more. Now more than ever, we need your help. We're returning not just to our roots, but in what we built, and how we built it. That means more playtests, more surveys, more listening, and truly being community first. Our goal is to combine the DNA of the first game with the best improvements from the second. Rebuilding the core experience isn't a quick fix. It's a long-term commitment to give ourselves the time to build the Splitgate you deserve. We've made the incredibly difficult decision to reduce certain roles and shift our resources to focus on this rework. This is heartbreaking. These are our teams and our friends, and they helped build what we have today. In an effort to retain as many team members as possible, we're also going to be shutting down the OG Splitgate servers in a month. While we'd love to keep the servers online indefinitely, it costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past couple of years, and we have to prioritize our team. Like us, we know the game means a lot to many of you, so we are exploring the possibility of supporting offline and peer-to-peer matches. In the meantime, Splitgate 2 will remain playable, and will still be shipping Chapter 3 as well as fixes and high-priority changes. We hope you will continue to play and support the game. As always, please keep your feedback coming. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously not an easy decision for them to just rip the game out and restart. It's nice that they're keeping it online, but it's also at the same time not great that they're shutting down the Splitgate 1 servers. I do think that it's a good idea that they're going to try and put some offline content into there, which I would love to see. I mean, stop killing games is still a major thing in my opinion, and the fact that they're going to try and implement some offline stuff is a good thing in my opinion. So yeah, I don't think they'll have a timeline of when they're going to bring this game back fully, but I mean, it's nice to see that they're listening to people and they're not just like, well, it's released, let's go. You know what I mean? Yeah, I never got around to playing Splitgate 2. As soon as it released, I was hearing some negative things about it, and I said, well, I'm not going to waste my time right now. I'll wait till they fix it up or whatever. And I guess it's a good thing I did that, because now they're put it back in the beta mode, and they're going to relaunch the game at some point in the future. So we'll see what happens. As of right now, though, good luck. Elden Ring Nightreign is adding Duos mode in the first free update out next week. So yeah, this will drop on the 30th of July, allowing you to play the game in Duos mode. So anyone who was out there going, oh, I only have one friend to play this game with, or only one person wants to play with me at a time, and we got to find a random and blah, 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 blah. Well, now you can just play Duos, or you will be able to play Duos with the next version of the game. They also did some quality of life UI improvements, including more relic filtering options, which is something that I really appreciate. Yeah, I mean, this was something that I was kind of asking for from day one, because 3-player co-op has always been such a weird idea to me. Either there's one person missing from your group, or there's one person who wants to play with you, but it's a 3-player co-op game, so you have to eliminate either them or one person from your group. So it's one of those things where it's always been a bit of a tumultuous thing, even all the way back to the Destiny days with me and my friends, where it's like, well, it's only 3-player co-op, so we have to axe someone from our group. So this is nice for duo players, or for someone who maybe they just want to go through a game with just 2 people. Not everyone wants to play a game with 3 people, or even on their own. So I think that'll be a pretty good idea. I'm sure that they'll balance things to a 2-player group. Yeah, we'll see what the update does for that in the near future. But as of right now, I think this is a good update, and I appreciate this one. I think it's going to be a good one. So there you go. All right, as expected, the Star Wars Outlaws sequel has been canceled. Most people are saying that it probably didn't get too far, and I agree with that. It probably really didn't get past any of the planning stages. They cited poor sales as the reason for why the game was not greenlit for a sequel. Now, the game did come out in a bit of a rough place. I myself thought the game was in general fun, but it just wasn't really there for me in terms of like an open world Star Wars experience. They have, of course, updated the game, updated the stealth, updated all these different things. So I think now it's in a state where people are probably going to play it and enjoy it. But just the general sales for the game just did not work out. And I think it's because a lot of the reviews were saying like it's not polished, it's not there. So maybe the game will earn its comeuppance back as the days go on, as the years go on. But as of right now, it is being seen as a bit of a failure. And even the studio behind it, I believe, has been disbanded, and the employees have been moved on to other things. So, I mean, like I said, not wholly unexpected here. I think that the writing was on the wall for this from the get-go. I'm sure that they could have done some pretty cool things with a sequel. I mean, they did a couple of cool things with like Hondo and Naka for some DLC and stuff like that. So I feel like the planning could have been there, and maybe that sequel could have been there. But as of this point, not super surprised about this. But I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe sometime in the future, after the game has been out there for a while, maybe the Switch 2 version for whatever reason sells well, or maybe people come back around the Star Wars Outlaws and start giving it some praise. Maybe then they'll greenlit a sequel. But as of right now, though, has been canceled. The sequel has been canceled for Star Wars Outlaws. And finally, for the news today, Project Cars 3 is being delisted and going offline. This is one more thing to add to the list of why Stop Killing Games is so important, because now we're getting another game in the Project Cars series. That'll be, I believe, that's all 3 games have been delisted, which sucks. There's no offline modes for these games. There's no way to play them offline, apparently. This is another thing that just in a list of games that have been delisted that just doesn't make any sense. Most recently, that John Wick Hex game got delisted, and the prices for that game has skyrocketed because of the fact that it's simply not available to play online or from servers anymore. You can't buy it anymore. But it is a offline game, so there's really no problem with the game being taken off of storefronts per se, simply because it's still playable offline without any online support. So you can still play that game, which is why the game went up in price. As for Project Cars 3, though, this is going to be one of those games that's going to be taken offline, and it's just not going to work. I'm pretty sure. They said in a press release, Project Cars 3, all product sales will end on August 24th, 2025. Please note that times may vary per region. If you bought the game digitally, it will remain in your library and will be able to be re-downloaded in the future. Any DLCs purchased before August 24th will still be available to use after the date. The game's online modes will also remain active until the February 24th. So maybe there is some offline stuff in there, but they are taking the game off the store. It's most likely due to a lack of or an expiring of the license for vehicles, certain tracks, I guess. Maybe like music tracks. I feel like maybe just doing a slight update and taking some of those things out of the game would be better than just taking the game completely offline. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those games where it's like, I don't really care about Project Cars. Like, I've never really been that big into it. But just seeing it being delisted for really no reason at all is always just a little bit of a mind-boggling thing. And do I think that the games are going to go up in price? I don't think so. I think it's going to... I mean, I don't think this is going to be one of those games that explodes in popularity now it's offline, like John Wick Hex. And even John Wick Hex will probably go down in price as the hype dies down around the game being delisted, right? So it's just unfortunate to see. You hate to see it, even for games that you don't really care about. It's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, I just don't see the real reason here. I mean, you could put out an update that removes a song from the game. Like, I don't think that's that big of a deal. Or, maybe take the branding off of a fucking car and change it a little bit to not look like the car anymore. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's things you could do to skirt around these types of things, but yeah, they're just not going to. I mean, obviously, this game is a bit old now. It came out in 2020, so it's old and in the garbage at this point, right? Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to what's coming soon. Whoa, mama. They showed off some Phantom Blade Zero gameplay, and I gotta say, after not really enjoying what I've played of Wuchang Fallen Feathers, Phantom Blade Zero is looking like the superior samurai-esque fighting game in the Souls-like genre. I mean, they've been saying that's not a Souls-like game. It's not a Souls-like game. It's an action RPG, blah, 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 blah. It definitely looks like a Souls-like game to me, and it plays like a Souls-like game to me. Obviously, there's more of a combo system in there, as you can see from the gameplay. And if you want to check out the gameplay, it's on Simple YouTube channel, which doesn't make any sense to me. Why wouldn't it? Should be on like the actual official YouTube channel. You can find it. Yeah, it's 22 minutes of gameplay. It shows the Phantom Blade himself fighting a couple of enemies and then fighting a boss named the Copper Maul. And the Copper Maul has some pretty big AoE attacks and a big copper ball. What do you know? He also has some sort of interesting stage transition. Well, I guess it's not really stage transition, but he dies and you like fall through the floor or whatever, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, they showed off a good amount of the game. It's on IGN's YouTube channel. I don't know why it's Simples over here. It's on IGN's YouTube channel, and it just looks good. I mean, it looks flashy. It looks quick. It looks exciting. There's a lot to like about what you can see here. So if you want to check out that trailer, like I said, it's on IGN's YouTube channel. It seems to be a good melding of a quick-paced combat style, like a DMC or whatever, mixed in with like the kind of like a Neo style like weapon system, right? So very cool indeed. So definitely check that one out. The game is still does not have a release date yet, but we'll wait and see on that one. All right, the next Pokemon TCG Pocket stuff comes out July 30th. The next 2 packs, that's right, there's 2 packs for this one. It is called Wisdom of Sea and Sky, and it will feature Generation 2 Pokemon. Finally, maybe we'll finally get a Totodile or whatever. So, Ho-Oh is the main card for one of them, and Lugia is the main card for the other pack. Each of them will have probably about 30 or so regular cards, and then mixed in with some more fancy full arts and stuff like that, as they usually do. They've already showed off a couple of like the basic Pokemon, including the starters from Gen 2, Cyndaquil, Chikorita, and Totodile, along with a full art Pichu, Cleffa, Shiny Gyarados, oh shit, some Umbreon and Expion being re-released for this set again, and then some more trainer cards and item cards, which is always nice to see. One called Elemental Switch, which will move energy from one Pokemon to a benched Pokemon. It might change the type of energy it is. Rescue Scarf, these things are it's just really quick. Rescue Scarf, Silver, those are the only ones that I could see there. But yeah, this update comes out July 30th, so it's not too far away. I have been itching for a new pack. It is 2 packs, which is not my favorite thing. I do like only 1 pack simply because it's easier to collect the cards. But I'll probably focus on one and then do the other once I collect all the cards from one or the other. With the Eevee packs that recently came out, I did get all the cards in the base set, but my drop rate has been shit lately. I'm not getting anything, and it might be because they're building up to the next release, which is what they usually do, is they drop the numbers for the drop rates are like worse for whatever reason, and then you get the new packs and you get tons of hits in the first like week, and then they'll slowly reduce the number of hits you get. So yeah, right now we're in the lull, and then it'll probably pick back up on July 30th. So be there or be square. Chronos: The New Dawn. They showed off some gameplay for this game, and you can find this on the Bloober Team YouTube channel. This is really looking like a spiritual successor to Dead Space, not only because the camera perspective and the sci-fi elements, but also because of the goopy aliens that are in the game, or whatever I call them, mutants or whatever. They kind of remind me of the necromorphs, even though they're not specifically necromorphs. They're more tentacly than the necromorphs, I guess. But still, anyway. So yeah, it looks like you have a good amount of weapons to try and fight your way through these hordes of mutants, or whatever you want to call them, hentai creatures. And it's all set in space. So you got your little space suit on, and you're going through these quarantined zones and stuff like that. There's some zero gravity stuff in there as well. So it is very much like a Dead Space cross with maybe like a Silent Hill or something like that. So if you want to check that out, the game will be available later this year in fall of 2025. Pretty excited about this one. I love Dead Space, so if they can capture a little bit of that Dead Space charm, I think the game will go far. Will go far indeed. So there you go. And then finally, for the coming soon section today, Marvel's Cosmic Invasion has announced 2 more playable characters for the game, adding to the roster of characters that already includes Captain America, Nova, Phyla, Vel, Rocket Raccoon, She-Hulk, Spider-Man, Storm, Venom, and Wolverine. Now they are adding in Silver Surfer, who of course appears in Fantastic Four in multiple different occasions. Fantastic Four 2 and the most recent Fantastic Four. And then also Beta Ray Bill, who is a bit more of a unknown character. He kind of looks like a Thor, but he's a lizard man. Apparently, he has been in the Thor comic books, and the character has been both an adversary and an ally of Thor himself. So I guess they're not going to add Thor into the game. They'll add the guy who's like Thor into the game. But I always like more deeper cuts in these types of things. I think that's a pretty fun thing. I mean, it's one of the reasons why Guardians of the Galaxy works so well. It's because it's a bunch of nobodies that you don't know, and you're rooting for them because they're the underdogs. So I guess it's not really the same thing here, but you get what I'm trying to say. So yeah, the game is going to feature 15 playable characters at launch. 4 more are yet to be revealed, so we will see what happens in the future. I'm sure they'll reveal them closer to the release date of the game, which is not announced yet. So we'll see when that is. Probably soon. We'll probably see soon. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Let's go ahead and do Guess That Song. If you know the name of the song and the game that it came from, let me know in the comments below or in the Discord. If you know the name of the song and the game that it came from, post it in the YouTube comments. I'll give you a heart and a congratulations. Or post it on Spotify. I'll give you a heart and a congratulations. Or post it in the Discord in the Fair 64 section, and I will give you a super reaction, and you will get the admiration of your peers. Let's listen to today's song right now.
In this world where life is strong, in this world life's an open book. In this world where compromise does not exist. In his world of rules every step.
All right. Thank you so much once again for listening. If you want to check me out, it's all at Yemmy the Ferret, whether it be YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, etc. Twitch, we're live streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So if you want to check me out, we are playing Sonic Frontiers starting Monday. We'll see how that goes. Anything else, like I said, at Yemmy the Ferret. I have a VODs channel, Yemmy the Ferret VODs. You can catch up on past streams. I also have another podcast I do called Film Freaks with a Z at the end. We talk about movies. The most latest episode is about Ocean's 11, if you want to check that out. That's available now. It's a bi-weekly podcast. Also, I have another podcast called Fubar Ferret. There should be a new episode coming out this coming week, if you want to check that out. End of the month, or beginning of the month is usually when those episodes release. And I think we're getting into the prime Fubar Ferret territory, so make sure you check out the latest episodes of that. Would appreciate it. All right, folks, have a good rest of your day, have a good rest of your week, have a good weekend, whatever it is. I hope you're having a good one. I'm Yemmy the Ferret, and I'm out of here. So long.
The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Small sound clips used throughout the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The song in the intro and outro is Nightshade by Adhesive Wombat. The Ferret 64 logo was made by Player2P2. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions, video game related, are my own. Thank you for listening.